What happens to your body when you walk after dinner every night? You are not just taking a walk. You are deciding where the biggest meal of your day goes next. Most people finish dinner, sit down, and let the body deal with the entire shipment alone. Glucose enters the bloodstream. Insulin starts giving instructions. But the largest storage rooms in the body, your muscles, have already closed for the night. Imagine a delivery truck arriving at a warehouse after the workers have gone home. The boxes do not disappear. They sit outside, waiting. This is not just a metaphor. This is what happens when dinner arrives and your body becomes completely still. But when you walk, even gently, you open thousands of small loading doors inside your muscles. The meal has somewhere useful to go before your body begins its overnight repair. Today, we are looking strictly at the physiology of what happens when you walk after dinner every night. From the first meal your muscles help process to the point where your body starts expecting that evening signal. Let's start the clock. Day 1. On the first night, the walk may feel almost too simple to matter. Dinner is still in your stomach. Your blood sugar is beginning to rise. Your body releases insulin to help move glucose out of the bloodstream and into cells. Normally, if you sit down immediately, most of that work depends on insulin alone. But when you start walking, something changes. Your leg muscles contract, your calves squeeze, your thighs activate, and those contractions can move glucose transporters called GLUT4 toward the surface of muscle cells. Think of them as extra loading doors opening along the warehouse wall. The meal has somewhere else to go. Your muscles begin taking in some of that circulating glucose to use as fuel. Not because you did an intense workout, but because you moved at the exact moment the fuel arrived. That is why a gentle post-meal walk can blunt the sharpness of a blood sugar rise. You may not see it. You may not feel a dramatic difference. But the shipment is no longer waiting outside a closed building, and your body notices the timing. The first night is not a transformation, it is an introduction. But once that signal repeats, dinner stops being just a meal. It becomes a cue. Days 3 to 5. By days 3 to 5, the walk starts feeling less like an extra task and more like part of the evening. And this is where many people notice the first practical difference. They do not feel as heavy after dinner. That heavy, foggy feeling you get after eating is not always normal digestion. Sometimes it is the body dealing with a large wave of glucose, insulin, and blood flow while you are completely still. A gentle walk changes the transition. Instead of dropping straight from dinner into the couch, your muscles stay online long enough to help handle the meal. Blood continues moving through the legs. The digestive system still has support. The body is not being asked to process a full dinner while the rest of you is already shut down. This is not about power walking. In fact, going too hard after a large meal can work against you. Intense exercise pulls more blood toward working muscles and can leave the stomach feeling unsettled. The goal is different. You are not trying to punish the meal. You are helping your body process it. Think of the warehouse again. You are not hiring a demolition crew. You are simply opening the doors and letting the evening delivery move inside before the building closes for the night. And once the meal is handled more smoothly, the next question becomes more interesting. What happens when that smoother evening starts changing the way you sleep? Days 6 to 10. By the end of the first week, the walk can begin changing the space between dinner and bedtime. Most people do not think of that window as biologically important. They think dinner is finished when the plate is empty, but the body does not. Digestion is still active, blood sugar is still moving, insulin is still working. Your nervous system is deciding whether this is a time to stay alert or a time to begin powering down. A short walk can create a cleaner handoff. You finish eating, you move. Your muscles help take in fuel. Then, when you come home and sit down, the body has already begun clearing part of the traffic. That can mean less evening sluggishness, less urge to keep snacking just because you are sitting near food, less feeling that dinner is still following you around hours later. And there is another effect most people miss. Walking after dinner pulls you away from the most common pattern in modern life. Eating your largest meal, sitting completely still, then carrying that metabolic load directly into sleep. You are creating separation between food and bed, not an extreme separation, not a fasting rule, just a small buffer that tells the body the meal arrived, the muscles handled it, and now the night can begin. But here is where people get it wrong. They say, isn't this just walking? No, walking at any time is good. But walking after dinner is different because it meets the body at a specific moment, when fuel is entering the bloodstream and the muscles can help decide what happens next. The walk is not magic. The timing is the point. And by the second week, that timing starts becoming a rhythm. Days 11 to 18. By days 11 to 18, your body has seen the same sequence enough times to stop treating it as random. Dinner arrives, muscles activate, glucose has somewhere to go, then the system begins to settle. This is where the habit becomes more than a single post-meal trick. It becomes an evening metabolic pattern. Your body is built around rhythms. Light tells it when morning begins. Food tells it when energy is arriving. Movement tells it where that energy is needed. When those signals line up, the system has less confusion to manage. You may begin noticing that the afternoon and evening no longer blur together in the same way. Dinner feels less like a finish line. Sleep feels less like something you crash into after a long day of sitting. And this matters because repeated movement after meals may support better insulin sensitivity over time. Insulin is not the enemy. It is one of the body's most important messengers. The problem begins when it has to keep shouting because the body is not responding clearly. Your after-dinner walk gives it help. Every step says, "There is room here. Send the fuel to the muscles." The warehouse is no longer overwhelmed by the same nightly delivery. It has a system now. This does not mean you will wake up 10 pounds lighter after 2 weeks. That is not what this habit promises. What it can build is something more useful, a metabolic buffer, a body that is better prepared to deal with dinner before the night begins. And that buffer starts showing up in one place people care about more than almost anything: the morning. Days 19 to 30. By the end of the month, the walk may no longer feel like exercise at all. It feels like the final part of dinner. The meal ends. You move. Then you come back home and let the day close. That matters because habits are not powerful only when they are difficult. They are powerful when the body begins expecting them. By day 30, you have given your body 30 chances to handle the evening meal with active muscles instead of total stillness. 30 chances to reduce the distance between dinner and recovery. 30 chances to stop treating the couch as the first place the meal has to go. The changes may be subtle. You may feel less bloated after dinner, less restless at bedtime, less heavy when you wake up. You may find that your evening cravings lose some of their grip because the meal actually felt complete instead of turning into a long cycle of sitting, snacking, and searching for something else. And if you track your glucose, you may notice that the post-dinner curve becomes less dramatic. But the real payoff is not one graph. It is the pattern. Your body stops receiving a large meal as the final burden of the day. It starts receiving dinner as fuel it knows how to handle. The delivery comes in. The doors open. The boxes move where they are supposed to go. And when the lights go out, there is less left waiting outside. How to make this work? Keep the walk gentle. For most people, this is not a high-intensity workout. It is an easy, comfortable walk you could hold a conversation through. Start with what feels realistic. Often 10 to 15 minutes is enough to make the habit easy to repeat. Consistency matters more than distance. A short walk most nights will do more for this rhythm than one giant walk every Saturday. And if dinner is very large, give yourself a few minutes before you head out. You are trying to support digestion, not jostle your stomach. If you use insulin or other glucose-lowering medication, have diabetes, experience dizziness after meals, have mobility limitations, or have been told to limit exercise, talk with a clinician about what timing and intensity makes sense for you. This is a supportive habit, not a replacement for medical care. You do not need to earn your dinner. You do not need to turn every meal into a workout. But your body does not stop working when the plate is empty. For hours afterward, it is still sorting, storing, digesting, and preparing for the night ahead. A walk after dinner is not about burning the meal away. It is about giving the meal somewhere better to go. One small signal, one open door, then let the night begin